Good evening, everyone. What's going on? Welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. And I told you that I would do a better job and make sure I get this out on Tuesday. And it is Tuesday. It is late Tuesday, but it is Tuesday. And I'm on time, which is a good thing. So welcome in. We have got, and I say this every week, it seems like, but we have got a lot to talk about. Some really, really good. We're going to talk about Nightmare in comics, which I'm so excited to do. One of my favorite comic book villains ever. And again, I told you guys I read a lot of Doctor Strange when I was a kid, and the way Nightmare was portrayed in those early comics was amazing. And so getting to talk about him and his origins and all that kind of stuff is going to be fun. Plus we get to talk about the card. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I've got it ready for my Sauron deck, which I think it's going to fit very well into. And but I have not gotten a chance to play yet with the card, but I will be in a little bit. We're going to talk about the new game mode. Well, kind of new, and the controversy that has arisen from said game mode. And we're going to get into that in the spin, and it's not going to be pleasant because it's not good. And I'm not the only one who thinks so for a change. In fact, I just opened up my Twitter, and I see Cambest saying, "Don't love this pricing scheme for Kid Omega." All the creators are saying the same thing. Alex and Cozy. All of the ones that people consider to be maybe the most positive creators that are out there are not liking this at all. The price point is ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's no other way for me to describe it. I put a post out yesterday. It got over 8,000 looks on the post. It's one of the biggest posts I've ever put out that got viewed. And basically what I said was, so this is ridiculous. Would love to know how many people will actually get this card without paying to do so, meaning Kid Omega. And there's no way he's worth it. Activate, destroy the next card you play this turn to gain its power. He's a Series 4 card, and he's 50,000 volts. 50,000 volts. Like, now I know the counterpoint. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into point counterpoint. But we're going to talk about that in the spin today. And you know, and we're also going to get into some of my theories on this, because I'll be honest, and I heard Benjamin Roller talk about it on the Snap on This podcast about why this is a little frightening, and should be a bit of a concern to players that are playing this game for a few reasons. And I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to tell you why. It kind of makes me nervous. And not just this change, but some other changes that we've seen, especially the one that's going to be changing the season pass, where if you want to get more cards, you've got to get the more expensive pass. So we're going to get into that. It's to me, it's not good. And I'm going to explain why. But we're going to talk about Overdrive or overrated. My thoughts on the new improved question marks mode. We have a call-in, the DJ call-in. I have a question today from Kier Nimbus. Kier, of course, is one of the other amazing podcast creators that is in our network of podcasts, the Snap Judgments League Network. I'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to talk about what's in the shop, variants, decks, and bundles. New Dan Hipp album today came out, so that's pretty cool. We've been kind of not getting a lot of Dan Hipps lately, but now we got an album full, so that's kind of neat. Then we go to Comics Corner with Nightmare. Can't wait to talk about Nightmare. I don't think I'm going to share Nightmare with anybody else. I was going to kind of split them off because we have some of these other cards to talk about, but Nightmare is just going to get my full attention because he's one of my favorite characters. And then, of course, the this week's books that I've gotten from the shop, and then we're going to go into the MCU minute to finish things out. But before we do, and by the way, there is a bundle in the shop that we have to talk about that is probably one of the ones that I think everyone is going to get. The price point. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. The price point, the fact that it has it's the hood, and this one was seen in that Art of Marvel Snap book, and it also has a demon variant, which you don't normally see when you get other cards like rocks and things like that. You don't normally see them have variants, and this one is a very cool demon variant. So I think a lot of people are probably going to pick this up. It's called Hierophant of Hell. And kind of cool, I guess it's coming out now. The Ironheart series is coming out. Of course, he's the main villain in that series. So we're going to get into that as well. But before we do, number one, go and check out. I shared the link, but it is the Snap Judgments pod, the latest one from last week. I was invited by Glazer to come on, along with Nick the Greek Geek was on there, and Heart of the Cards was on there as well, and I got invited to come on in a perfect time because we talked about the Heralds of Galactus season that is coming up. We talked about Galactus himself, the new card, and a bunch of other stuff, along with other things too. So go check that out. It's out now on the YouTube, and it's also out on audio as well. So go check that out. I was had a great time being on the show, and always it's a great time joining Glazer and Nick. Nick and I did that podcast together for a little bit. And he's a great guy, and Heart of the Cards was cool. Very good player. Big Silver Surfer fan. So it was cool to have him on there too, because, you had me, the big Galactus stan, and him, the big Silver Surfer fan, on a Herald show. So very fitting. But check that out. And then, of course, as I said earlier, I am part of the Snap Judgments network of podcasts, which include such amazing shows as the Infinite podcast by Kieran Nimbus, who does that every single week. Usually comes out on Saturday. He breaks down the new card of the week, talks about some of the news and stuff. He was talking about the tournament and things like that when that was going on. I'm sure he'll probably talk about high voltage as well, and the changes to that I'm going to talk about on the spin. But yeah, very good listen, easy listen, because it only usually about 20 minutes or so long, so it won't take you up a long time to listen to. So check that out. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Snap Judgments, Glazer's pod, as I was just on there, but he always has some cool guests, good content creators and stuff like that, people that just are great players of the game. So go check that out as well. Many times it's Gunny T on that. Many times it is Nick the Greek Geek on there as well. So go check that out. It's a great pod. And of course, when Roy makes it on, although Roy has been a little bit busy and stuff like that, Glazer actually said he ate Roy on the last, and that's why Roy is gone. But yeah, so check that out also. And then, of course, you have Snap on This that I mentioned earlier with Lauren WhAtZ, Ree, and Ben Roller. Always a good time, always a fun podcast. And they go over, again, the new cards. They preview seasons. They go over, their week in Snap. Talk about all that. I'm sure they will be talking about the controversy about Kid Omega this week. I would be curious to hear their thoughts on that. But very, very fun, very good show. The secret homework and all that good stuff, and the little games they play at the end of the show are fun. So check that out also. All right, we are going to get into it. Now, you may have noticed I had said I was going to try to have guests every Monday. Well, that already went out the window because of my work schedule and because I had a fun end of last week as I ran through a huge pothole that I did not know was as huge as it was. It blew out my tire. Had to get my donut put on the car, drive on the donut for a little bit, and then I had to basically take the weekend to get new tires, sit in a garage and get new tires put on. And then there was just a whole bunch of other stuff that went on. So my weekend was just crazy. Probably the worst Friday the 13th I've ever had. And I'm a huge, I told you guys, I'm a big Friday the 13th movie fan, big Jason fan, And but it was terrible. And yeah, so the best laid plans sometimes never work out. And unfortunately, I had to not do a podcast on Monday because I just had so much other stuff going on. Life has been crazy. I just switched my wireless provider. Verizon is way too expensive, and I switched back to T-Mobile. Pretty good so far. They were, when I had them, when I used to work there, and that was, oh God, a good probably 12, 13, 14 years ago, they weren't great. They had really bad service compared to Verizon and AT&T, but they've gotten a lot better and a lot cheaper. But switched over to them. So that was something else I was doing. And the highlight of my weekend, speaking of Friday the 13th, is I did manage to find a way. Now, I watch some creators that do horror stuff, namely a channel called Slash and Cast, which is fun. They talk about slasher films mostly, but they also do a lot of gaming. They do Dead by Daylight, which I never liked. And they were doing Texas Chainsaw for a while until that got announced that's being shut down by Gun Media, who the same company that shut down my Friday the 13th game. I'm not very fond of them right now. But I found that some of these creators were still playing Friday the 13th. And I'm like, how the hell are they doing this? Because the game got shut down the end of 2024. And so no one was able to play it anymore on the servers, but they shut their servers down. Well, here, I guess there are other people, like fans of the game and stuff like that, whatever, that are just running servers. And I never knew about it. I didn't know you could do that. And it's literally one of my favorite games ever. I had a blast playing it, met some really cool people, and it was just a lot of fun. It was an asymmetrical game where it's one killer against so many counselors. I think it's 8 counselors, and you just have to basically survive or kill Jason. You could kill him. But it was a lot of fun, and I really miss it. But I found a way to get back and play again, which was tremendous. Brought back a flood of memories for me, so now I'm kind of playing that again. So I am now on my PlayStation, which could be a little dangerous because I may not play as much Snap as I was playing before, because now I'm kind of having my interest being taken away. I also got I used to play a lot of Telltale games. The ones like Walking Dead, I played all of those. I love those. But I like games like that. They're not very action-oriented, more story-centric, and you basically just kind of make decisions. There have been other games like that too, like Detroit Become Human, that have been made by other people. Heavy Rain, which was one of my favorites, that did that. That's kind of like I'm getting older now, so that's kind of like the speed for me. I'm not a big first of all, I can't play first person, so I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I'm not I can't do any of that. So they're kind of my thing now, these kind of games. And I found a new one that's a Star Trek game, actually. And I'm a big Star Trek fan. I Star Wars and Star Trek. I like both. And I found that as well. I've been playing that. And it's kind of one of those games where you just make decisions throughout the game. It's not really a lot of action, but I kind of dig that. So I've been doing that. So that's kind of what I did over the weekend. I was just playing a hell of a lot of Friday the 13th, and was just having a blast, bringing back those memories of it. You all know that. You guys all, you play games, and a lot of times it's just what it is. It's nostalgia. It's memories for people, because they're that's what they remember. They've met friends, and you just play them because it's almost like a comforting thing. It's relaxing to me. People are going to be saying, "Oh, you're playing Friday the 13th, which is all about getting killed or killing someone, and that's relaxing to you." Yes, ironically, it is. The game was just made so well. I know there were, if you guys out there listening have played it, yes, there were a lot of glitches, a lot of things like that. I don't mean it made well in that way, but it's very tribute. It was very much a tribute of the heart to the series. The maps, the cabins, the camps, everything is just like, I'm amazed. Like when I go into the camp houses and stuff, the stuff they took from the movies and placed them in to the environment and the way it looked and stuff like that. It's just amazing to me how good they did. And it just really makes me sad that they didn't get to go further, because they were going to go into the Manhattan part of it. They were going to do the New York thing, and then they were going to do the Jason in space thing, Jason X, which, oh God, it looked amazing. Like you saw some of the development of it, and it looked so good. And then they just got shut down because of the stupid lawsuit. But the fact that I can play again is pretty cool. So anyway, that was my weekend. So that is why I did not get any guests on this week. I hope to continue that. A lot of it's going to depend on my work schedule and stuff too. Because I used to consistently have 2 days off on the other jobs that I had. I was always off Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's not the case. That's why I record now late times on a Tuesday too, because I'm not off anymore the same days. So anyway, all right, let's get into it, shall we? We'll get into the DJSpin, and we are going to talk all about the new game mode. Oh boy. Man, high voltage overdrive. And, it looked so good. Like when they were showing it, I thought it looked funny where they fill the boards with tacos and all that kind of stuff and make it a little crazy, vary it up a little bit. And I don't have a problem with the mode itself. The game mode itself isn't the problem. I do think it's fun. It is stopping people from playing all of the same stuff. And I said this the last time this game mode was out. It's always the same stuff. It's always the Black Panther, Zola. It's always the same repetitive business over and over again. Well, because they changed it and they added like these little rules to it and everything like that, because that's the case, they that like the overdrive turns and everything add different things to it. They blow up some of your cards. There's just all these little nuances that they added. And because of that, they also changed the band list for the cards. So that kind of stuff is not what has me. Although, of course, some of the creators, Binks, made a deck with Professor X because they're all saying that you could lock down your opponents much quicker now. And since there's only a limited amount of turns and stuff like that, then if your opponent can't play in those lanes, But all that said, I think it would have been fine for everybody had they not made these rewards so freaking expensive. I mean, a card that is Kid Omega, that is a Series 4 card, is in this. Now they have a shop, so it's kind of like they combine high voltage with Sanctum a little bit. But the card is insane. People were kind of thinking they made a mistake, like that they messed up, and it should have been 5,000 instead of 50,000. But it is no mistake. They have the astronomical amounts. Even for 1,000 credits, it's 4,300 of these volts to purchase, which is the most asinine thing. The avatars are 1,400 volts. A premium mystery variant's 4,500 volts. Premium mystery borders 5,000 volts. Emotes 12,000 volts. Dr. Doom's, I think the Dr. Doom variant's probably the most. That one's at least probably the most fair, maybe. 4,000 volts. And the Kid Omega card, which I'll read it out. It's a 2/1. Activate to destroy the next card you play this turn to gain its power. I mean, okay. Like I saw Reed just playing it in a Nimrod destroy deck. You kind of have to play it in something that's going to destroy stuff. But is it a game-changing card? Certainly not, in my opinion. And is it worth 50,000 volts? No freaking way. No freaking way. In fact, I can read you some of the comments that I got on my post, and maybe I'll do that. I am sitting right now at 6,395 volts. Now, the people who are talking about this are saying the only ones who are going to complete this are people, and Lauren WhAtZ, God bless her, actually did the math. And the math is ridiculous. You unless you sit and you play every one of these rotating missions that I certainly can't do. Again, and I've said this on several of my other episodes, I have a job. I have a life. I can't sit on this game all day long. I don't think many people can. And so that's why I think a lot of people are pissed about this. This is not an achievable reward. You can't literally get this unless you're rotating through all of these when they refill. Now mine's going to refill in an hour, but I haven't played the game all day. So I missed all the other ones from the day. So now I might pick it up a little bit later, but there's no way I'm going to hit 50,000 volts. Now, the other people are saying, well, you could just get them in snap packs. That's true, but why bother with this then at all, is my question. Why bother with it? These game modes were made to try to help people get some cool cards. And if they're going to keep doing this kind of thing, you're never going to get them. So what is the sense of even having this at this point? Who cares? You know what I've gotten so far? Here's what I'm up to. I've got credits, boosters, and the fact that's insulting too. You're putting boosters on a reward track? Seriously? Boosters. That probably nobody needs, and you can get them in Conquest, for God's sake. Who cares? No one cares about boosters. Tokens, okay. Borders, I guess, okay, depending on what borders they are. But you're going to line this thing with boosters? Like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, this is just really bad to me. Really bad. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Again, like I said, a lot of the creators, even Binks on his stream, and the most positive ones are saying that this is, like Alex, in the title of his half of the video with Cozy, said this is sus. I mean, I agree. This is just not good. Like, what I don't understand what the thought process is here. You want people to play this mode, but normally you'd want them to achieve something, and you cannot achieve this. This is not an achievable goal. So stick the card out in front of people and say, most of you aren't going to get this. So here you go. Look at it. Look, it doesn't look cool, but you can't get it in this game mode. So why have it in the game mode at all? Why have it in here as a brass ring that no one can catch? Like, I don't get it. Now, and I told you also that this is a little concerning for me. And I'm going to tell you why. I have been on the record on this podcast many times as saying that I used to play a game called Marvel Battle Lines. It's a Marvel game. I've heard of some other people that played it along the way. That game was nothing but a money grab. That's all it was. You had to buy packs of cards. The packs always had pretty much commons and stuff. To get the ultra rare ones like Thanos or any of the cards that were really powerful in the game, you were required to spend money. And it wasn't a little bit of money. It was good amounts of money. And so they suckered people in, and the game shut down even less than a year old. And what I'm seeing in certain areas of Snap, now granted, the card acquisition has vastly improved, like Laser said on my show, and we talked about it. And I agree. That said, what is going on with the monetization? I have to ask that, because with this is definitely monetization. And you want to know the truth? I was watching Regis. Regis has the new card. And he said he had to spend $125 to get it. Which he said he doesn't mind because he's a content creator and he just takes the money that he makes from content creation and puts it back into his channel. Which makes sense. But $125 for a card like this? That's a Series 4? I mean, dude, what is going on here? And then we got the announcement that I talked about in previous episodes about the season pass. And now how they're going to make the more expensive season pass, which probably hardly anybody was getting, contain a card that you're only going to get if you get the more expensive pass. And it's the Fantastic car in July. So it's a little scary, guys, I'll be honest. We're coming up on what? 3 years of this game? In and around there? You know what the average time a mobile game lasts is? 3 years. On average. I looked it up. If they go beyond that, it's an anomaly. And, so I'm just trying to think of the ones that I know. I always use Candy Crush as an example. I mean, that's been around forever. But that's not the norm. Plus, we also are under the impression that Second Dinner, now that they took over their own shop, the Nuverse shop, which a lot of people are saying, even to that they weren't thrilled by that because they're not seeing some of the things that they used to see in there. But now, like I said, we've heard that they're working on a new game. New game, money grabbing, modes like this that have unreachable goals unless you spend money, which I refuse. I will not. In a mode like this, I will not buy a level. I will not spend a red cent of my gold or anything like that. I have like 5,000 gold. I will not throw any gold into this. Nor will I purchase any gold ever to put into this. It's disconcerting and it's concerning. Because many times when mobile games are kind of getting ready to, they see the end is near, they will hit you for as much of the cash as they can before they head out into the sunset. I've seen it, not just Battle Lines, I've seen it on other games as well. And many games before they die, and this includes even video games, will try to get you. That one last time they'll try to get you. And it's a little concerning. It really is a little concerning. And like I said, I'm not the only one. I've heard Ben made mention of it, and how he's a little nervous about it too. And I'm starting to wonder, we'll see. I hope I'm wrong, because I love doing this show, and I would miss it dearly if it went away. And I hope I'm wrong, but this isn't a good sign. And I know that a lot of creators are pissed. That doesn't bode well for the game either, when the creators all get upset. Their audiences will then hear from them, and their audiences will then more than likely get a little upset. So far, we haven't heard a peep about this. I don't know if anybody put anything in the Discord today about it. I didn't look at Discord yet today because I worked. So I don't know if anybody made Discord comments about it and they responded. I don't know. I would guess we would maybe get a generic response like, well, we're trying different things. We're looking into see, how people take to it. And if they get a bad response, then we'll look into changing it for the next time. So that's my guess is what we'll see. But again, I know that, and I'm not talking about the game itself. The game itself is fine. In fact, like I said, I think it is a little more fun than the last version of this, because it's not always the same stuff. So the game itself is fine, but the rewards are garbage. And the putting that card, which is not even it's not a game break. It's not a Thanos. It's not a Merlin. It's not even a season pass card. It's not even a card that's going to fit into many decks except for true destroy decks. And so it's not even a great card, and they're putting that in there for that much. Like, oh man, it's disappointing. And let me know what you guys think. But I like I said, I've heard from so many about it, and I'm going to read some of the comments that I got on Twitter about it. And they are not good. They match my sentiment. I mean, look at, like I said, KM Best. Don't love the pricing scheme. Now, this is what he's replying to. And this was a person on that was, I guess, on Twitter or KM Best. I don't know. This is a message to the Discord. This comes from Ms. Crizzle. I know the launch of High Voltage Overdrive should be celebrated as it's a fun new mode. I've played a handful of games already, but much like the rest of the community, I'm baffled by the decision to price Kid Omega at more than $100 if you were to buy the card outright. I know the alternative is to wait and to just get him with tokens, but it doesn't feel like a reward to try and earn at this moment. It legitimately feels bad to see a single card priced at a rate for an entire year's worth of cards from season passes. I love the game, and I rarely agree with the Discord here on business decisions, but any insight to share on how this came about, and wrote thanks. And Griffin responded and said, our ongoing goal of limited time game modes shop rewards is to give players more control and flexibility over how they spend their earned currencies. Most rewards in the shop will be fully earnable using LTGM currencies alone. However, some top-tier items may require additional gameplay in other modes to earn enough gold to make up the difference. See, now that I don't like. I don't want to play other game modes to earn gold and to save up gold and then to spend. Gold is hard to get in this game, man. Most people are saving up their gold for a cool variant or something like that, not to purchase cards. We weren't told that. We were told that tokens can purchase cards, not gold. You shouldn't have to spend your hard-earned gold to purchase a new card. That shouldn't be the case. Kid Omega from High Voltage Overdrive is priced in the shop at the same cost as a standard Series 5 card. Oh, so now they're saying he's Series 5. That is not, I'm sorry guys, that is not a Series 5 card. At least not by name. To me, that is not. With its ability, that is not a Series 5 card. They could call it that all they want to, but I'm sorry, that does not look like a Series 5 card to me. Players who want to acquire it can use their earned volts to reduce the cost by buying it directly and then supplementing with gold. How could you... Players who want to acquire can use their earned volts to reduce the cost by buying it directly and supplement. Oh, so you use your volts to purchase gold, I guess he means. But that still doesn't make sense to me. Alternatively, players can use gold to purchase bonus mission. See? But what is this saying? Players can use gold to purchase bonus mission refreshes that help them earn more volts. And Lauren did the math on that. And you'd have to... Regis probably did do it that way. He probably just... he may have just directly bought it. But you shouldn't have to spend gold to keep playing a mode just to get the top prize in the thing. That's not what this used to be. You used to get a variant and you used to get the card and you had no problems doing it. Why change it like this? One thing we didn't mention in the blog, we're delivering 500 volts daily to all players' inboxes and 1,000 volts on the final day. Okay, but that doesn't... Oh, that you still have to commit hours and hours of time to playing this. We appreciate your feedback. To me, this is a money grab. This is a money grab. You're trying to get players to buy gold to spend in this game mode for what? To get a Series 5 card that works in one deck? Or like a destroy set? I mean, dude, like... And now you're going to have to open up a snap pack for a Series 5 card that this should not be labeled as. Wow. This is, like I said, I don't, and KM, like I said, responded, said, don't love the pricing scheme. Oh, man. I just don't get it. And I mean, I hope I'm not right. But this is what I wrote. So this is ridiculous. I think I read this before. Would love to know how many people will actually get this card without paying to do so. And there's no way he's worth it. $65,000 to get both new cards. And then some of the replies. My comic book collection, I haven't done the math yet, but this seems really hard to achieve as free to play. DM Allen says, in my humble opinion, I'm going to spend my time grinding. I should earn a card as a reward. If I'm going to spend my time grinding, I should earn a card as a reward. Earning a small discount and having to spend gold to get a card is a predatory tactic. I can't argue with that. The whole point of these game modes is to entice players to play more, not have them play less. Shame on Second Dinner. Joey Fantana says, are he and Cobra being added to packs after the event? I would assume so. And then Master Wingman says, I don't really like how they redid High Voltage. I wrote, yeah, it's not good. No one but most hardcore hours spent is getting this card without paying for it outright. Definitely not an improvement. Truth, and I'm not a fan of random cards, really. Burb, who I've had on my show, says it feels so bad. And then I wrote, it's concerning to me. Ed Free says, seasonal packs is my plan. Mastermate Surd says, and I thought it would be easy to get it, that I would have a good time in High Voltage. Mr. Majestic said, tokens still work. Well, yeah. Troy says, boycott the game mode. Prices like this should be supported by your time and money. I like how High Voltage plays, but this is ridiculous. Bob Honey says, nah, I'm not going to worry about Kid Omega. I'm going to play because it's fun and maybe spend all my volts on heavy metal borders. Yeah, they're kind of cool with the chains. Would look really cool on Ghost Rider. On what multiverse, Octung Baby, nice. It must be a YouTube fan. What multiverse was this statement they made true? And this was written, High Voltage Overdrive coming June 16th to 25th. This new game mode puts an epic twist on High Voltage you already knew and love. But don't worry, we know you love High Voltage, so we're not getting rid of the original. This is just a super new fun way to play. And then he outlined Kid Omega and Cobra will be earnable through missions and winning super fun games. And that's what he said. How is that statement made true? Adam says he seems pretty broken. Going to feel bad not to have him, but I can't grind like that this week. I got a job, I got medical stuff going on, and I ain't paying $100 for him. Adir, now I had to translate his post, says you have to discard it, and it's better to go for variants or other options. If the card becomes really necessary, it's better to get with tokens. Jake LeMay says, I'm just going to spend volts on stuff like borders and variants. I'll just get him from snap packs. He's not worth the resources and the time, even if you do spend gold. It's not a good look from Second Dinner, but snap packs make it not nearly as bad, in my opinion. Bruno Diaz says, just wait to get on snap packs. I'm going to try to get Cobra. Cobra's even a 1 in 3 shot, so you're not necessarily going to get him either. Richard says, it's madness trying to get this without paying $100. Clear. All they thought about was rinsing the fan base. MJ says, going to grab the emotes in a PMV. I'll spend the tokens later. Quizmorks, Quis. Imagine grinding to get him and they nerf him. Bijou Eid says, tokens. Ashura says, as far as I know, you can get 30,000 points with the dailies. I'll just buy both emotes and see what else. Kyle Parkhurst, I'm just going to wait until next month and get it with tokens. Got plenty of those. What a trash event. Turd Sniffer. Says, why does anyone still support this trash game? They openly hate their players. I mean, that's just random comments. It's frustrating. And like I said, I'm telling you, man, just be careful what I will just say this. I can't tell the future. Sometimes I wish I could. Could have stopped myself from running through a pothole. I hope, like I said, I'm invested in this so much so that I do this podcast. I've met a lot of amazing people. Creators, players, a lot. I would truly hate and be very sad to see this game go. But I'm telling you, the new adding a card to the season pass, if I keep seeing more and more stuff that starts to make its way out, that ends up being valued with gold or things that you have to purchase, I'm going to get more nervous as time goes on, because I've seen this story written before. And boy, do I hope I'm wrong. But for more ways than one. The amount of people who, when a game goes away, the amount of people you won't talk to anymore, you won't see anymore. The amount of things that you do that make the game fun. But I'm telling you, I don't like this. There's just a gut kind of a little. I'm not panicking, but I don't like all this stuff, and I'm going to be curious to see, like I said, what happens. In the future. But as of right now, this new game mode, I used to think High Voltage was decent. The game's okay and everything, but I'm certainly not gonna bust my. I'm not gonna bust my own chops to try to get this thing. There's no way. I'll do what everyone else said in the comments, and I'll get it with snap packs. I'm collection complete, so I'm gonna probably not have a hard time doing so. And that's what I'll do. I am certainly not gonna bust my stones trying to finish this. For what? For some emotes? A border? Whatever I get done, I get done. I don't care. And isn't that counterintuitive to what they're trying to do? Like, don't they want people to play these game modes? Isn't that why they revamped it? And now you priced everyone out of the highest reward in the mode, unless they spend their hard-earned gold that's hard to get and buy it. Why? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But anyway, that is the spin for the week. Not a very pleasant one. And, it's just, look, I'm just stating it how I see it. As I've said many times before, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope in this aspect of what I'm thinking here that's going on, I hope I'm wrong. But time will tell. And if these modes start coming out more and more, like if the next Sanctum comes out and it's looking similar to this, and now all of a sudden we can't get the highest, and look, Sanctum was a little tough anyway. If it weren't for the Twitch drops, we wouldn't, there's no way I would have gotten the final thing in that. The final thing was that title, that Sorcerer Supreme title. I wouldn't have gotten it. And if that keeps happening, and then they want you to spend more gold to keep resetting the missions and all that kind of stuff, not good. Not good. So, all right, that's the spin for the week, guys. You let me know what you think. I got a lot of your thoughts already, obviously, about it on Twitter. Thank you for that. But let me know if you don't want to make it public and you want to send me a DM, or if you want to comment on the pod, or if you want to send me something to my Discord, please feel free. I would love to hear from you about it. And if you share my thoughts, or if you don't, it's all good. But yeah. All right, so let's move on. And we're going to go to the DJ call in. Please get me those questions, guys. The questions are kind of dwindling a little bit. I'm not saying I'm a wealth of knowledge, but I'm old. I've been around for a long, long time. And like I said, you can ask me about anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be about Snap. It could be about Marvel comics, Marvel films. I mean, I have seen them dating all the way back to the TV series of Doctor Strange with the curly hair and the bad mustache, and the TV series for Spider-Man that Stan Lee hated. And the Spider-Man cartoons from the 1960s, and the other ones, the Avengers, when Captain America throws his mighty shield. Yes, I know all of it. So, you want to talk about TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff. Music. I was a college DJ, and I love all kinds of music. I'm a big 80s fan. I'm a metal fan. I like a lot of metal bands from the 80s and 90s. You can literally ask, it doesn't matter. You can literally ask me about that. I love all kinds of comics, DC, Image, Dark Horse. I've read so many throughout the years. One of my favorites that I've ever read is The Crow, which was just such a great movie and a great comic book. But yeah, books that I've read throughout the years. I read the original novel for Star Wars before Star Wars even came into theaters. But yeah, hit me up. Questions, of course, about the game, but they don't have to be. You could just hit me up about, what was it like to be a DJ in college, to talk to bands, to get to know some of these artists and stuff like that were playing on the radio at the time. Anything. Send me the questions. And like I said, you never know when a gold pass may come your way. So yeah, send them to my Discord, send them to Twitter, via DM or just a post. Kier Nimbus sent it to my Discord. You can hit me up there, the Snap Judgments League Discord. I'm in there too, under Snap Decisions. You can hit me up on Blue Sky as well. So yeah, send me those questions. Kier Nimbus asks, hey Joe, question for the pod. What are your thoughts on Amalgam comics? Wow, I haven't heard that in a while. It's something I was really fascinated with when I was younger, and I often reminisce about having a crossover event between Marvel and DC again. What would be your favorite combinations of heroes and villains to see? All right, so this involves explaining to you guys if you don't know, what Amalgam comics are. They are basically a DC and Marvel crossover, like Kier mentioned. And basically what they did was they took some of the heroes and they combined them. So it's a joint venture between DC and Marvel. Happened in the 90s, 96, 97, was founded in 96 and defunct in 1997, so it didn't last. So collaborative publishing imprint shared by DC and Marvel, in which the two comic book publishers merged their characters into new ones. The DC Comics character Batman and the Marvel Comics character Wolverine became the Amalgam Comics character, the Dark Claw. So that's what they did. They took the two of them, smashed them together, and made one comic. These characters that appeared in a series of 12 one-shots, which were published in April 1996 between Marvel Comics versus DC, number 3, which I had that, by the way. That's where it stemmed from. So if you've never read that, I would tell you to do so. It's a fun crossover, and it was where Marvel and DC kind of fought for a little while, but then they were kind of being played against each other. Which is cool. You don't see many crossovers from these companies. I often talk about the big giant size comics that I had when I was a kid that used to cost $1, that they crossed over, like they had a Superman Spider-Man one, which was oh my God, for me as a kid to see that. And it was, it was one of those really big oversized comics. My grandparents bought it for me for $1. I know, it might have been $1.50, but it was one of my favorite comics and still is to this day, because you had Marvel writers and DC writers writing the characters and doing the artwork. And to see Spider-Man and Superman together, oh, it was so cool. They had a Batman and Hulk one. Trying to think of some of the other ones. But anyway, that's kind of where this stemmed from, was that the Avengers, the DC and Marvel crossover event. Then it said these characters first appeared, so the one-shots, a second set of 12 one-shots followed 1 year later in June 1997, but without the crossover event as a background. All 24 of these one-shots took place between the aforementioned series, or issues of DC and Marvel. Fantastic Four originally designated the Amalgam universe as Earth 962 in the Marvel multiverse. So the universe actually exists where DC and Marvel are together. Redesignated as Earth 9602 in 2005. Let's see. So the publication history, 96 and 97, DC and Marvel co-published a total of 24 one-shot first issues. 6 by DC and 6 by Marvel. And they called them Amalgam comics. The issues were all presented as if the company had existed for decades, with stories and editorial comments referring to fictional history stretching back to the Golden Age, including retcons and reboots. They referred to Secret Crisis of Infinity Hour, an amalgamation of Marvel's superheroes' Secret Wars, Crisis on Infinite, and DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Infinity Gauntlet, and DC's Zero Hour, Crisis in Time, respectively, which featured the well-known cover of Crisis on Infinite Earths number 7, but with Super Soldier holding the dead body of his teenage sidekick, the American Girl. So they redid the Crisis on Infinite Earths cover where you had Superman holding Supergirl, who had died in the Crisis. But with Supergirl and Marvel's Carol Danvers and James Buchanan, Bucky Barnes, instead of Superman holding the dead body of Supergirl. 19 of the 24 issues included phony letter columns to provide the illusion of background to the stories, with the fans' hometowns formed by amalgaming the names of existing American cities. That's kind of clever. The first event occurred near the end of the 4-issue DC versus Marvel crossover event in 1996. So basically, that's what the description of it is. Battles are finished. Neither universe was willing to go. To prevent their total destruction, the Spectre, who I love in DC, used to read a lot of Spectre comics, and the Living Tribunal created an amalgamated universe in which only Access and Doctor Strange Fate, that's a combination of Doctor Strange and Doctor Fate, which I thought was also cool, and Charles Xavier, knew the truth about the merge. The two characters fought against each other, either to reverse the change or to preserve it in the case of Doctor Strange Fate. Access managed to separate the brothers with the help of the Amalgam's universe superheroes. Before the merge had taken place, he had planted shards of the two universes inside Batman and Captain America. Once he discovered the Dark Claw, the Batman and Wolverine, and Super Soldier, Superman and Captain America, he used those shards to give the Spectre and the Living Tribunal the power to restore the universes back. Batman, Captain America, and Access were thus able to make the brothers realize that their conflict was pointless, and the two universes were separated once again. The brothers they're referring to were two cosmic beings who were the physical incarnations of their respective universes, referred to as the brothers, became aware of each other, and after eons of slumber, to prevent the brothers from destroying each other, characters from each universe battled to determine which universe would survive. A real world vote by readers of the series was conducted to determine the outcome of 5 of the in-comic battles, with 3 of them favoring the Marvel hero, Access. A new character created specifically for the event and co-owned by both DC and Marvel served as a gatekeeper who became stuck while traveling between the two universes. So there you go. To answer Kier's question, my favorite ones were, and I'm trying to remember the ones that I read because I didn't read all of these, but of course I like Dark Claw. I was always a Batman reader. The Bat Thing I liked as well. Generation Hex. Lobo the Duck was a favorite of mine. Challengers of the Fantastic. Iron Lantern I thought was pretty cool. And then, of course, you got Spider-Boy out of this. I want to look up, was Bat-Thing... I have to look this up now, because if this is what I'm thinking of... Oh my God, he was a combination of Man-Thing and Man-Bat. And how did I miss this one, dude? I never read this. Oh, I have to look this up now. Is it? Well, no, it's not going to be, because it's a DC. Oh, dude. I don't think it's going to be available. No, it's under the DC database. You probably... I might have to get this on Amazon and read it. Yeah, it's Kirk, and they even named him Kirk Salas. So Ted Salas was Man-Thing and Kirk Langstrom was Man-Bat. Oh, man, how did I miss that, dude? It's not going to be in the Marvel thing, though. Because, I don't... How the hell did I miss that one? I thought I read every Man-Thing comic going. Well, there you go, Kier. Now I have to go find this book. Thanks a lot, dude. That for sure. That's got to be. I mean, I'm sure when I read it, that's going to be, because I was like Man-Bat as well as a villain for Batman. I bet you I'm really going to like that. But they were some of my favorite combinations of the ones that I read. But I often reminisce about having a crossover event. They're supposed to have another crossover coming soon that I remember reading about. In fact, I think I reported it on an episode of this. So I do think there is one around the corner that's coming that's going to involve both DC and Marvel. So stay tuned. But thanks for the question, dude. That takes me down memory lane. I kind of forgot about a lot of that, and I read, and I still have, the DC versus the JLA versus the Avengers crossover thing, which led to all this. But I didn't pick up all of those comics. So thanks for sharing, man. That's awesome. And like I said, guys, send me your questions. I always love to hear from you. No matter what it is, don't think anything is too silly to ask. Please just send them out to me, and I'll use them on a future episode. So thank you for that. All right, next up, we're going to get into, well, you know what? Let's look at, well, no, we'll do that in a little bit. Let's do what's in the shop. Let's look at the shop. And we will look to see what we've got. Now, I told you about the Dan Hipp album. I only knew that because I got our Alliance, of course, as always, got all the rewards, and I got the Premium Mystery variant, which ended up being a 700 gold variant, which I ended up getting through that. And I won't probably buy any of those 700 gold variants. I'll probably just end up getting them all at some point anyway on the collection track and whatnot. But yeah, so we have the new Dan Hipp album, and let's go right to that, and we will check that out. It's called Cosmic Conquerors, and the one I got was Black Swan, which looks very cool. Dan Hipps are always awesome. Now, I had two of them already because some of these had been out. So I have Nocturne and I have Beta Ray Bill because they had already been released. The other ones are all new, though. You have Grandmaster, Emperor Hulkling, Blink, Black Swan, Fastos, Kyera, Corvus Glaive, Cull Obsidian, Supergiant, and Proxima Midnight. And then the rewards are 1,000 tokens, which I've gotten. There's 4 purple neon borders. There's a Grandmaster emote who's holding a gold ticket. And then there is Hawkeye. So Kate Bishop's Hawkeye is the card that you can get at the end of it. So that is the new album that's out today. And of course, if you go into your shop, you will see, and I'm still one short of that I Am Ivan fan staring me right in the damn face. I'm never going to get that Galactus, man. The Collector's Vault's back out again. Yuck. Skiing Mobius is in here. And I thought maybe I would pick him up, but I am not paying that kind of gold for any of these. Yeah. All right, so let's see what else we've got. So the Collector's Vault Vibranium offers. So the Hierophant of Hell, $24.99. The hood, and you get that cool new demon as well, the new demon variant, which is awesome. And you get 3,000 gold, an orange border, which is the one that looks like fire, so it'd be perfect for the hood. And then you get some hood boosters for $24.99. Not bad. Not bad. And I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to pick it up. Midnight Mistress Celine is the same. Token Tuesday, 700 gold for 500 tokens. No thanks. And then in the cards today, I have all of the Dan Hipps. So there's Blink is in there. Fastos is in there. Cull is in there. Supergiant, Emperor Hulkling, and Grandmaster are all in there. And then I have the Creative House Pocket Wave variant, which looks kind of cool. She looks like an anime character. Or like a fantasy character. She has 2 swords. Pretty cool looking. I have avatars for Black Swan and Blink. The emote for Goose is in my shop. And that's about it. So they had the Father's Day bundle with Yondu, which was pretty neat. Conquest, the Arrow is in there. I'm 2 away from getting her, so I'm sure I will. I usually always get the cards. And let's look and see. Let's check out the variants and stuff. I don't think I got too many, actually. Black Swan, of course, like I said. The Merlin one that's on the collection track. And my game died, as usual. So we have to wait for it to start over again. But the Merlin that's on the Season Pass collection track I did get. And this is going to take forever to start over because my iPad sucks. Or the game just sucks on my iPad, either one. Probably, maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. We shall see. If the game ever opens up again and it's taken forever. Here we go. Gathering resources. Fetching from the multiverse. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yeah, the new Merlin. I did get Rescue, the 700 gold variant. That's pretty neat. It has her iron armor, the armor going on her body, which is kind of cool. Looks cool and it's split. The Yondu Father's Day variant by Brett Bean, which is kind of cool. You can see his little, obviously whistling. He looks a little more like a vampire because when you see his nose is kind of pointy. And then he looks like he has a little fang coming up from his mouth. So he looks vampire-ish. But the arrow and everything looks cool. That is done by Brett Bean, like I said. The Rescue is done by Travel Foreman. I got the Quicksilver 700 variant, Graphite Studio, the Quicksilver from that. And that's, I think, all I got. The rest of them I got last week. So that's really a light variant week for me. Most of it was just the collection track stuff and just a couple here and there. So let's look at some decks. Now, the only deck I have played in high voltage. I tried Binks's a little bit. I didn't care for it, the one with Professor X. But I won my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I won my first 10 games of Overdrive with Sauron. Just my run-of-the-mill Sauron list. Zabu, Sauron, Zero, Surge, Surtur, Starbrand, Ares, Enchantress, Cull Obsidian, Typhoid Mary, Red Skull, and Scar. I just won a ton with it. And then I think after that it calmed down a little bit. Like I said, I won my first 8 games, then I won the 10 games. Then I started to win, lose a little bit. But this is the deck that did good by me, and it's probably the one I'll stay with if I continue to play it a lot. Or we'll see. All right, the deck that I'm going to try with Nightmare is... Why is there deck 12 started? Okay. Is going to be this one. And this is Nightmare Idiots. Zabu, Sauron, Ebony Maw, Surge, Lizard, Nightmare, Surtur, Starbrand, Enchantress, Atuma, Typhoid Mary, Red Skull. Obviously, what Nightmare is doing, and I talked about this, it's going to be a very good home for him because he's getting rid of all of the drawbacks on these cards. Now you have to get him. You want to pop him out early. That's why getting Surge is pretty important. But you do have Sauron in here too, which can kind of help as well. But Nightmare does it in hand. So he's replacing the text of each card of yours in hand. He's a 3-1. On reveal, replace the text of each card in your hand with text from a random card at the same cost. So this covers the drawback of Sauron. Sauron's drawback is they took away the in-hand change. Nightmare can now affect your in-hand cards. So if you draw the Starbrand, if you draw the Red Skull, if you draw the Ebony Maw, and you couldn't play it last time because of Sauron not being drawn early enough, now Nightmare changes them all. So he can take your drawbacks that are in your hand, and if you don't get Sauron, now you have a backup play who he's going to change the text of each card in your hand with text from a random card of the same cost. So now you probably won't. Now some of them might be bad text, but you're not going to probably have Ebony Maw's drawback. Same thing with Lizard. Same thing with Red Skull. Giving the enemies power. Same thing with Typhoid. Same thing with Atuma. You have a lot of cards in here that you want to change your text anyway or negate it. Starbrand also. Now, he can change, so you got to be a little strategic because he can change some of the stuff you need. He can change your Surtur. That's one of the, you can change your Enchantress. So you may want to look into decks that maybe don't necessarily have those cards, but I think he's a natural fit in those decks. So that's a deck I'm going to try first with him. What else have I been playing? I think I told you last week I was playing Ongoing Thanos a little bit. That's honestly the new Sauron list and the Ongoing Thanos have really been what I've been playing. I didn't really move far on the ladder. In fact, I'm still at 85, and I think I was last week too. I didn't play a lot of ladder. So, there's that. And I'll pick and choose what I'm doing sometimes and what I'll play. I didn't play a ton, but I didn't play a lot of ladder this week, so I didn't really get very far. But yeah, so that's the shop. In case you didn't know and you're not playing already, which I'm sure you are, but the banned cards list for Overdrive is Alioth, Black Widow, Galactus, Magic, Darkhawk, Cassandra Nova, Kang the Conqueror, Thanos, Arishem, Agamotto, Agatha, Mysterio, Quinjet, Loki, High Evo, and Gorgon. Now, it's funny. Loki's banned, but yet I've had Loki in at least about 4 or 5 of my games because they just pop up randomly. So I'm wondering if you can get these cards anyway in just as random cards that you might get. Because I got Loki a bunch. My opponent actually did too. So I don't know. I'm not really sure as far as that goes. But yeah, so that's where I stand. That is what I've played, both in high voltage and a little tiny bit, which I haven't played much on regular ladder. So high voltage, where I stand, I think I mentioned this. I'm pretty close to the 5,500 level, which gets me 100 credits. So I probably should get there. And then, so yeah, I mean, and again, the rewards or the amount they're giving you is the same. You're getting 500, 750, 875 XP in a round of missions, and you're getting 500, 750, 800, 875 in the volts. And then, of course, the Volt Shop I went over with you. Cobra can be gotten for 15,000, but you won't necessarily. It's a 1 in 3 shot because the other ones are variants. You can get the Storm variant from Ji Hung Lee, or you can get the other variant that's in there too. I think it's Iron Lad. So you're not guaranteed. You're going to pull for 15,000 trying to get Cobra, but you are not necessarily guaranteed. I was going to say, if it were cards that I already had, yes, but you can get either one of those variants. So you're definitely not guaranteed at getting that. All right, so we're moving along, and we are going to now go, and I talked about Nightmare and how excited I am to talk about the character, because he is he's right up there with my favorite villains in the Marvel Universe and in Marvel Comics. We're going to talk about Nightmare from Marvel and find out when he was in comics and all that good stuff. All right, so Nightmare. This character has a very rich history. He started in Strange Tales, number 110, July of 1963, created by who else? Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. He is a demon. He's affiliated with the Fear Lords. His abilities, he has nigh omnipotence and psychic vampirism. Nightmare is a fictional supervillain appearing in American comic books published by Marvel. First appeared in Strange Tales 110, was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The character is depicted most commonly as a major enemy of Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider. Nightmare is the ruler of the Dream Dimension, and he is one of the Fear Lords. He's also part of the group called the Six-Fingered Hand. He can drain the psychic energies from the subconscious minds of dreaming beings. First appeared in Strange Tales, the first appearance of his enemy, Doctor Strange, and was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. He is the evil ruler of a dream dimension where tormented humans are brought during their sleep. Creepy, huh? He roams this realm on his demonic black horned horse named Dreamstalker. I love the horse. Oh my God, it's like an evil, they look sick because he was always drawn with he had messed up trussel of hair, like black hair, but he was drawn as a specter with black and green. And the horse would have green smoke coming out of his eyes and his mouth. He could have been in a horror book. Just drawn so really well, and that's what intrigued me about it. The art from it was just so creepy. I think he brought to mind to me when I was younger images of the Headless Horseman, and I was always fascinated by the Headless Horseman from Halloween, and that whole tale about him chasing Ichabod Crane and then throwing the pumpkin, and then all you saw left was the shattered pumpkin after it was over. That story fascinated me. And Nightmare with the horse reminded me of the Headless Horseman a little bit. And there's just a spectral horse and him, and I love this character. He appears as a chalk white man with wild green hair, a green suit, and a ragged cape. He was the first foe met by Doctor Strange when a man who was having troubled dreams went to Strange for help. Though it's revealed that this is due to him committing a murder. Nightmare later attacks Strange after he forgets to cast a spell that would have protected him. However, Strange escapes after tricking Nightmare by casting an illusion of one of his enemies. Nightmare is a demon from the dimension Everin, like his cousin, the Dweller in Darkness. Nightmare is dependent on humanity's need to dream. It's kind of like Freddy Krueger, yeah? Without this ability, Nightmare would cease to exist. Yeah, he really is. I wonder if, that's weird too. I wonder if Wes Craven had read Doctor Strange books. And I wonder if he got an idea for Freddy. I never really heard interviews with Wes about where he came up with Freddy, but I wonder if some of it came from this. So it's really cool. Nightmare is dependent on humanity's need to dream. Without this ability, he wouldn't cease to exist, like Freddy, right? But humanity would go insane. At one point, Strange and Nightmare had to join forces to prevent that from happening. Nightmare has encountered Spider-Man, Captain America, Ghost Rider, Dazzler, Wolverine, the Hulk, and Squirrel Girl on different occasions. Nightmare also served under Shuma Gorath and warned Strange that the demon would be a force that even the Sorcerer Supreme would have trouble defeating. And he once joined the Fear Lords, a group of supernatural creatures who fed on fear, to attack Doctor Strange together. Their plans were undone when Despair tricks him into competing with the Dweller in Darkness over who could frighten humanity more. Despair's another cool one. Despair was in Man-Thing books back in the day. That's another, they should make him for Snap. Nightmare is the father of the Dream Queen, a similar being who rules her own dream dimension. She was conceived when Nightmare impregnated a succubus named Zahila Shar. Nightmare's realm is not part of the mindscape, but the Sleepwalkers are aware of him and consider him an enemy, because Sleepwalkers do not have to sleep. Nightmare has never been able to affect or dominate them. He sought to do this through the hero Sleepwalker, who had been connected into the brain of human Rick Sheridan. Nightmare sent Sleepwalker back to his own realm with a monitor to assure the hero Rick was not being tormented. Rick was being tormented with the intent of driving Sleepwalker mad and thus giving Nightmare access to the minds of Sleepwalker's people. The hero was not fooled and sacrificed his return home to stop Nightmare. Nightmare was able to access human minds through the concept of the American dream. Many people who were deeply patriotic or had achieved a degree of success through hard work were going on violent rampages. Nightmare was soon stopped by combined forces of Captain America, Sharon Carter, and S.H.I.E.L.D. In the Tempest Fugit storyline of Hulk, it's revealed that Nightmare has been plaguing the Hulk for years with hallucinations, misdirections, and manipulations of reality by empowering himself. His second, more benevolent daughter, Daydream, is also introduced in this story arc. Nightmare has claimed that his daughter was conceived by forcibly entering the mind of Hulk's late wife, Betty Ross, raping her in her sleep. Wow. And is temporarily killed by the Hulk in retaliation. When Hercules and the God Squad needs to make their way to the Skrull Gods realm during the Secret Invasion storyline, they require a map of the Dream Time and barter with Nightmare for it. Nightmare agrees in exchange for access to the fears of the 5 gods. However, he actually intends to use these divine fears to conquer the world. Hercules and others escape his realm, having stolen the map via trickery, as Makabashi had created a shadow duplicate of himself to fool Nightmare. Nightmare summons up an army of monsters to attack them, but they escape. Nightmare later attempts to revenge himself on Hercules by manipulating the supervillain Arcade, we need him in Snap 2, into trapping Hercules and Deadpool in a labyrinth they construct. The deploy fails and Nightmare withdraws. He later plots to conquer the entirety of fiction, adding it to his realm of nightmares, but was defeated by the Fantastic Four. Nightmare is seen tormenting Loki as part of a plan to garner greater powers in the Terrorism Myth storyline. However, he was unable to use Loki's own nightmares against him, and Loki challenged him to a duel to the death, where the loser would give up their immortality, to which Nightmare accepted. Loki beat Nightmare and killed him. Following the death of Doctor Strange, severe mystical threats were able to freely move into position and try and doom the world of man, including Nightmare. Quickly finds himself in New York, where he confronts Cyclops, Jean Grey, and X-23 during their sleep. However, Jean managed to break free from the nightmares and confronting him on equal footing, is able to call out nightmares for his attempts to feed on the minds of others. Powers and abilities: he is virtually omnipotent entity who rules Dream Dimension and can draw power from psychic energy and subconscious minds. As long as there are beings that dream, Nightmare will exist. An alternate variant appears in Earth 1610 as Ultimate Marvel. He was in the Superhero Squad show. Blind Rage Knows No Color, voiced by Jim Parsons. Appears in the Ultimate Spider-Man, voiced by Mark Hamill, of course. I mean, how perfect is that? The guy who voices the Joker. Nightmare appears in Hulk, Where Monsters Dwell, voiced by Matthew Watterson, in a film. Must have been an animated film. He's been in video games. Superhero Squad, The Infinity Gauntlet. Appears in Lego Marvel Superheroes. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. And in miscellaneous, he appears in the novel Doctor Strange, Master of Mystic Arts. Nightmare by William Rossler. Also appears in the audiobook The Ultimate Supervillains by Steve Rasnick Turn. And he appears in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So there you go. That you can see why he's one of my favorites. I am a huge fan of him, and you can see why. He's right up my alley with the horror part of it. His other aliases are Edvard Haberdash. He impersonated Hamir and countless others. Place of origin is the Everin dimension. Existence not consciously known to the general public. Let's see if there's anything else here. Has faced Clea, Spider-Man, the Micronauts. The Micronauts! Oh, man. They were in their own Marvel Comics. They were like a toy competitor of the Transformers. Dazzler, Ghost Rider, John Blaze and Dan Ketch, both Ghost Riders. Hulk, Cloak and Dagger. Excalibur, Daredevil, Strawman, Doctor Doom. Wolverine, Sleepwalker, The Enchantress, Heimdall, Morbius, Emma Frost, Captain America, Black Panther, and Moon Knight. He has worked to corrupt unstable super beings, such as the Hulk and Cloak. Nightmare was allied with rival fear-sowing entities such as the Fear Lords. See if there's anything else, and then we'll go to the comic. Here's this quote: "Mortal fools, I am the master of the subconscious, the midnight Leviathan, proof positive that the most precious of dreams too often fall prey to nightmare." Tried a little bit of like Mark Hamill in there. Dastardly and scheming Nightmare is a fear lord. Let's see. His affiliation and relationships. Dream Queen, his daughter. Daydream, his daughter. Terrence Ward was a son. He's other relatives. The Dweller in Darkness is a cousin. Despair is a cousin. He is single. Blue eyes, black eyes, and variable. So they switch. Extra-dimensional demonic entity, conceptual entity, deity. Alive, was formerly deceased. Identity is secret. Nightmare World in the Dream Dimension is where he's from. Base of operations, Nightmare World, Dream Dimension, Club Fear, and Nightmare Island. And Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, baby. All right, so let's go and look into Marvel Unlimited. Let's see where you can find Nightmare in the comic books. And I'm sure he's going to pull up when I type him in. I wish I could go back and find that Doctor Strange story that I read in the oversized Doctor Strange comic book. The one that was, oh yeah, he's in here. Details. The Fear Lord Demon Nightmare rules Nightmare World. Feeding on humanity's psychic energies, he torments them in the dream dimension. Sometimes he singles out souls and often battles his greatest adversary, Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. Oh, you can follow characters too. That's cool. I didn't realize that. You can star them and you can follow them in the app, which means that they'll bring up books and stuff that they were in. So Punisher Nightmare, Ultimate Nightmare from Punisher Nightmare is from 2013. Ultimate Nightmare is 2004-2005. Doctor Strange Nexus of Nightmares, 2022 to present, one issue. Regular Doctor Strange, 2023 to present. Loki, the God Who Fell to Earth, Infinity comic. He's in Marvel Knights. Deadpool, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Doctor Strange from 1968 to 1969. That's a good chance I might find. You know what? Oh, man, dude, look at that. Doctor Strange's astral form is in there. Oh, I love that. Oh, I got to go back and read. You know what? Dude, now I'm going to go back and read old Doctor Strange comics. Oh, man. Yeah, I've got to do it because I didn't have all of these. In fact, I had very little because they were very hard to get because they're so old. But, oh, man, now, yep. Oh, that's the Masterworks. Yep, Joe's going to be reading some Marvel Masterworks. Yeah, boy, I'm gonna be reading some of that. That's awesome. All right, so let's see what's in the shop. And Astonishing Spider-Man Infinity Comic number 32, Morbius is in that. The Uncanny X-Men Facsimile Edition, that's a reprint of an old one. Legacy of Vader, that's all about Kylo Ren, if you're interested in that character at all. And, I know a lot of people kind of hate on him, but, I liked him in Force Awakens. Of course, Last Jedi just blew it out of, just destroyed the character like it destroyed Star Wars. But the comic's interesting. He goes back and he finds where Vader, where on Mustafar, where Vader lived. and he goes in and he's trying to find out about his history and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool so far. It's issue 2. The Amazing Spider-Man number 69, and that's during the whole Doom thing, the Doom crossover that's going on. Deadpool issue number 12. X-Men 2024 issue number 13. X-Factor issue number 8. Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom. That's interesting. There's another character we don't have in Snap either. The dragon Fin Fang Foom. That's issue number 1. Power Man Timeless issue number 2. Namor issue number 8. West Coast Avengers issue number 5. Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk issue number 4. All New Venom. MODOK is in that. Issue number 4. Fantastic Four Depths, the Depths Infinity comic. Astonishing X-Men Hellverine. Issue number 4. Hell Hunters, issue number 4. Phoenix, issue number 9. Thanos is in that. Iron Man 2024, issue number 6. Herbie is up to issue number 2. Astonishing Avengers Infinity comic, that's up to 18. And Avengers Academy Marvel Voices Infinite is up to number 46. So there you go. That is one of my favorite Marvel villains. You could see why. He has not been in a film yet, and oh man, he better be. Doctor Strange and Clea are going to check out that incursion. That was at the end that we were left with the end of Doctor Strange 2. But there's really no news on Doctor Strange 3, and I hope they just don't can that because they need to have Nightmare in one of his movies. It just has to be done. And he's going to look so amazing with the special effects and stuff that they have. They have to do it. They have to do it. They have to bring Nightmare in. He's so cool. But yeah, go check it out, guys. Read some of the older Doctor Strange books. You will enjoy them if you like the character. And so there you go. Get the Marvel Unlimited app. Check out some comics. Read up on Nightmare. Go to your comic book shop if you have one. Check it out there. But you won't be disappointed. They are very, very good comics that Nightmare is in, and one of my favorite characters in Doctor Strange and in Marvel over the years. So, all right. We are getting to the end of the show, and that means that it is time for the MCU Minute. So we're going to look up and see if there's any new news. There hasn't been a whole lot going on lately. Screen Rant. This comes from them. Iron Man loves Ironheart. Robert Downey Jr. sends heartwarming video to the stars of Marvel's next MCU show. Shares a beautiful video message for the Ironheart stars as Marvel Cinematic Universe heroine gets ready for her own series. Following her introduction into the timeline in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Riri returns in 2025 as the main character of the new Ironheart show, which is slated to be the next Marvel series on Disney+. With the MCU TV show's upcoming June 24th premiere. So that's close. That's close. That's a week away. Longtime member of the franchise wanted to show Dominique Thorne his support for the series. It was on TikTok. That's kind of cool. The video sees Downey Jr. wearing a Pinewood Studios cap, which is where he's currently filming Avengers Doomsday in England. In the video, Downey Jr. said to the Ironheart stars, "Ms. Thorne, I couldn't be happier than to see you bring Riri Williams to life. But the hood has me nervous. Is the hood green? Please tell me Mr. Ramos is not replacing me as Dr. Doom via Parker Robbins. Is there something they're not telling me? Anyway, I don't want to step on your interview. Long story short, Iron Man loves Ironheart." Well, that's nice. That's cool. I like RDJ. I like it. That's cool. Comic book fans know of their connection in the Marvel canon. General audiences may not know that Riri and Tony Stark have a relationship in the comics, which is why Downey Jr.'s message is incredibly special. Given that the Ironheart TV show can't really tackle their relationship in the MCU due to Tony's death in Avengers Endgame, it is a big aspect that sadly won't be explored in Riri's live-action story. But to see Downey Jr. still sending his love and support for Thorne's heroine just goes to show that he is definitely aware of their character's Marvel background, even if he doesn't get to explore it in the franchise. Yeah, he's actually her AI in her suit. He voices her AI, which is pretty cool. Downey Jr.'s video message for Thorne, Ramos, and the show also comes at a proper time, as many are still looking at Riri as Tony's replacement. Rather than seeing her as her own hero, in the end, there are a lot of differences between Ironheart and Iron Man, which our show will get to properly explore, even though they will not get to share the screen together. Having Downey Jr. praising Ironheart as a character is still incredibly lovely. And then their take on it, Downey Jr. has always been a champion for many stars in the MCU franchise, and that's why it was incredible to see him showing love for Ironheart, for Thorne, Ramos, and the Hood. While Downey Jr.'s Iron Man may not get to work with Thorne, time will tell if his version of Doctor Doom will meet Riri, as there is always the chance she could possibly be in Avengers Doomsday and or Avengers Secret Wars. But until then, fans can catch Riri's return this summer in the new Ironheart series, with the first episodes premiering on July 24th. I'm going to watch it. I know that a lot of people are ragging on it, like they usually do, for stupid reasons. Oh, it's another MCU, all that crap. That's baloney. I'm going to watch it. I thought the trailer looked pretty good. And, of course, I know a lot of people are Hood fans. A lot of you guys that are listening are probably Hood fans, even just from the Marvel Snap. He's one of the best cards in the game. And so, if you want to check him out in live action, I'm anxious to see it. And who knows, maybe we'll get a Mephisto sighting. That's been rumored for so many years now. But, he is a demon, so we'll see. Marvel's Ironheart premieres this month. Everything we know about the MCU series so far. This is from BuzzFeed. Trailer for the series dropped and immediately made MCU fans raise their eyebrows. Why? Well, because it looks like magic will play a central role in the show. Cue the Mephisto rumors. Check out the trailer. Magic. The second trailer for Ironheart gives us several glimpses of magic being used by Riri. There will be a tech versus magic plot involved here, especially since the villain is the Hood, a street-level magic user. We haven't really seen tech and magic being used in harmony much in the MCU. Closest we got was Tony and Doctor Strange interacting in Endgame. In the above image, it looks like magic will be merged with her armor, as we see runes in her helmet interface. You can see Riri in her armor standing outside of what appears to be a large spell. Here's another shot of the same. They show some of this, though. Hood is the villain. Anthony Ramos from Twisters, In the Heights, and Hamilton is set to star as the Hood, a villainous criminal who taps into magic. From the looks of things, the Hood will start off as an ally to Riri before things devolve into chaos. In the comics, the Hood is a low-level criminal who stumbles upon a magic cloak and boots that give him the powers of levitation and invisibility. However, these magical items draw their power from Dormammu. If Dormammu sounds familiar, it's because he was the main villain in the first Doctor Strange. And then they show him rocking the Dormammu hood. Dormammu is the ruler of the Dark Dimension, and he may make a subtle appearance in Ironheart. And let's not forget, in the mid-credit scene for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it shows the Doctor leaving Earth to fix an incursion with Clea in a universe that appears to have Dormammu's influence. Will Ironheart connect us to what Doctor Strange has been up to? I hope so. Ryan Coogler and his wife Zinzi are producing the show. So, I am excited. I think it's going to be good, and I'm going to be excited to watch. New Fantastic Four. This is from Superhero Hype. MCU villain revealed for First Steps. Which Fantastic Four is it? Villain is it? Latest promo for First Steps gives us their first... No way! I didn't see this! What? The latest promo video gives their fans first look at Giganto, a villain who has become iconic to the Fantastic Four comics. Surprisingly, the first look at Giganto comes in Little Caesars ad. The ad shows a Little Caesars employee talking about the company's pizza while being attacked by Giganto. No way, there he is. Dude, that's amazing. Oh, I'm going to share this. I'm taking a picture. I got to take a screenshot. Oh, he looks awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Dude, that's amazing. Giganto's in the film. Oh, I love it. Now, if that's the case, excuse me, I'm taking a screenshot. If that's the case, then are we getting Mole Man? Because now Giganto was, like I said, I think he was in the initial issue of the Fantastic Four. I'm going to share this on my Twitter, by the way, and I'll probably... Whoops. There goes my phone. I'm recording the podcast. Sorry, I probably lost me there for a minute. But I'm going to share this on Twitter. I'm also going to share it on Blue Sky. I'll put it in my Discord as well, so you guys can see what he looks like. But he looks amazing. Let's go do that right now, and then I'll read the rest of the article. But that's cool, because if he's in that, does that mean we're going to get a glimpse of Mole Man? Because I believe he was one of Mole Man's creatures that attacked the Fantastic Four, or that came out from underground. Okay, I'm trying to type and do stuff at the same time here. Sorry about that. Fantastic. I'm just doing this post real quick. There we go. Fantastic Four First Steps. What the heck did I get a Y in there for? That was stupid. That didn't go the way I planned it to. All right, well, there it is. You can go look on my Twitter right now and see a picture of Giganto. That's so cool. I did not see the commercial, and he's literally holding someone in his hand. But oh my gosh, he looks so cool. That's amazing, dude. See the things you see? I didn't even know until I read this that was true. That's amazing. Giganto will appear in Fantastic Four, revealed in a Little Caesars Pizza ad. While not on the level of Galactus or Doctor Doom, Giganto has a special place in the world of Fantastic Four. The villain first appeared in the very first issue, and is one of the several mutated creatures made by the deviant scientists. Eventually, Giganto and other mutates would serve under the Mole Man. A character fans... Oh, okay, so he's with Mole Man later. Also, Hope appears in the upcoming MCU movie. Set against... Okay, so that's awesome. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's their... That he's going to be their original villain in the film. Oh, that's so cool, dude. Another rumor, comicbook.com, Sabrina Carpenter is being eyed to play Dazzler in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After previously being rumored to be up for the lead role in Disney's live-action Tangled, we're hearing that Sabrina Carpenter has met with Marvel Studios about potentially playing Dazzler. Carpenter has met with with Marvel Studios and is being eyed for the Dazzler role. It's easy to assume this would be a long way to X-Men reboot, but we've heard that a number of other X-related projects are also in various stages of development. Given Carpenter's background, Alison Blair would seem like a perfect fit for the pop megastar. There are plenty of Swifties who still feel that Taylor Swift would be ideal for the part. Carpenter will obviously be best known for her career as a singer-songwriter, but she's been in Adventures in Babysitting, The Hate You Give, Short History of the Long Road, Clouds, Emergency, Netflix's Tall Girl, and the Broadway musical Mean Girls. So we'll see if that comes to pass. Original Blade writer addresses the MCU's struggles with Mahershala Ali's reboot movie. Well, this ought to be good. The writer for the original Blade trilogy opens up about how the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been struggling with its upcoming reboot for Mahershala Ali's character. While the multiverse saga is getting closer to its end, one of the projects that Marvel Studios have yet to deliver in the Blade reboot, following the announcement at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019 that Ali would be joining the franchise as the Marvel icon. As Blade has been stuck in development hell for years, Marvel Studios is still intending to go through with the film as they are working on the script. Fans have been wondering why it's been so difficult for them to put together a film. Someone who's more than familiar with the character has also discussed the matter during his appearance on Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. David Goyer, who wrote the original Blade trilogy and directed Blade Trinity, was asked about the situation with the reboot film with Ali and with screenwriters sharing the following. In my mind, I think Blade is a relatively simple story. It's not complicated. I always think that when you embark on a movie like this, you have to distill down what the promise of the movie is. The promise of a new Blade is that it should have insane ass-kicking, should be pretty scary, might be R-rated, and it should not be complicated. It should be a simple story, so I don't know why it's been so hard. I have no idea why. I'm baffled. Mahershala Ali is an amazing actor, and I just don't know why. Another topic that was brought up was how Wesley Snipes reprised the role of Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine. While Goyer stated it was fun seeing his Blade back, he was also confused by Marvel's choice to include him in the midst of trying to do the reboot film, sharing the following. I thought that was cool too, but it's confusing as well. If you're trying to do another one, it may have just been an acknowledgement that, we can't crack it right now. I have no idea. I haven't been involved in the conversations. So, I don't know. I really don't know what's happening with that. I have my doubts that it is going to happen. I know a lot of people would love to see it, including me. I would love to see more of the Fear characters. As I mentioned, I would love to see a Marvel Knights, which would bring in Ghost Rider, maybe Blade, maybe Man-Thing. I would love to see that. Maybe Moon Knight. But they kind of are shuffling their feet with it, I guess. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. As he wasn't, obviously, either. All right, guys. Well, there you go. That is going to do it for this episode for this week. I don't think we really have anything else happening. I know there is another OTA coming up, but I don't think that's till the end of the month. So that should be it for me for this week. Again, check it out. Check out Glazer's podcast, the latest one with the Heralds of Galactus, if you want to hear my thoughts on the new cards. Let me know. Again, send me your questions. Like I said earlier, I'd appreciate that. Let me know in the comments of the pods or wherever you can, Discord, you could find me, Twitter, and stuff like that. Let me know what you think about my thoughts on the new game mode on Overdrive. I'd like to hear from you as well on that. And have a great rest of your week in Snap. Enjoy the new mode if you are enjoying it. I hope you have a great rest of your week in the game, however you choose to play it. Because that's ultimately what it's about, is having fun. As soon as the movies are coming out in July, Superman, of course, I have an early screening to that. I'm going to go the day before it opens to the public. So I will review that on this pod because I'm not adverse. Yes, it's a Marvel Snap pod, but I talk about all kind of comic book stuff, including DC. So I will do a non-spoiler review of Superman on here. And I will also do a non-spoiler review on Fantastic Four once I get done seeing that. Now, I am going very early on opening day to see that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is the first showing. So I will be able to I might have to do an emergency pod that day, come to think of it, because that's going to be on a Thursday. I don't normally do a podcast, so I may do an emergency pod that day just for the Fantastic Four spoiler-less review. So I'll let you know as the time goes by. Next week I will try my best to have some guests on the show. I am off next Monday, so that does bode well for that. And look, stay safe, be kind to one another always, and hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great one, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. This is your Snap DJ signing off.